Hi everybody, it's British Lad Waddles, but I've sunk. Yikes. So in this video, we talked all about potential themes of 1.20. It was really fun. Today, we are back on that 1.20 grind, except small. In this video, we're going to take a look at 15 small updates that would revolutionize Chef's Kissify the 1.20 update. Like the Illusioner. The Illusioner is a secret Minecraft mob that was added to the game like years ago at this point, and is in the game to this day, but completely unused. Look at this thing. The code, the texture on this thing is amazing. Oh yeah, and it multiplies. It literally duplicates. Seeing as this thing is already pretty much completely in the game over on Java Edition, texture, functionality, everything like that is pretty much almost ready to go. All the devs would need to do for this thing to get it truly ready is find a spot in the update for it. Oh no, what's this? A brand new raid. The pillagers are charging into the town, and inside of this raid, there was the illusion. You're too strong, buddy. The Illusioner was here. Adding this strange, ranged, mystical mob into raids would make the raid a little bit more unique. After all, right now, they just use other pillagers. But clearly, the Illusioner isn't the only mob in the game that can duplicate nowadays. I feel that the Illusioner could also fit in like pretty much perfectly over at the outpost. After all, these things are definitely dangerous. If we're talking all about small updates that you could add into an update to make it even better, which, yeah, we are. That's the point of the video. Then this one is perfect. So in Minecraft 1.19, as we all know, mud was added to the game. Mud? There's a mob in Minecraft that seems to love mud. Okay, look, maybe it's not true. Maybe it's a stereotype. Pigs don't actually buy into the hype of mud, but if they did, imagine being able to take a pig, bring it over to mud somewhere in your world, and then as soon as it touches the mud, it turns into this muddy variant of the pig right here. So I'm gonna need you to just imagine that pig wasn't muddy until this second. Look at this. It worked. The pig is muddy. This is being pulled off with a really cool resource pack that also throws the flower up on its head. Too soon. Too soon. Smaller updates that would make 1.20 perfect. Unfortunately, this next one, Java Edition is going to have to miss out on it because it's actually already here. Hardcore Minecraft over on Bedrock 1.20. With spectator mode finally being added over on Bedrock Edition, the setup is basically here. If you pay close attention to updates that happen on Bedrock Edition, then you know that they just revamped the death screen as well. I mean, I don't know about you, but spectator mode, updated, revamped death screen, this seems like kind of the perfect setup. Like, it's exactly the perfect setup. Those are the two features you will be using the most, not me, you will be using the most in hardcore Minecraft. Name tag tricks. They're one of those cool small features that you could completely miss if you didn't know about it. It's like an Easter egg. I love it. They're so cool. Right now in Minecraft, we've got 3 different name tag tricks. We've got Dinner Bone, which makes any mob upside down. We have Jeb, which makes rainbow sheep. And then we have Toast, which makes the rabbit, toast. Name tag tricks. Name tag tricks are always a cool thing to add, and they haven't been added in so long. Minecraft 1.20, and then updates going forward, should bring more name tag tricks to the game. They're cool. Not only is it a cool small Easter egg that's like completely hidden, you would have to look it up to know about it, but also, it gives name tags even more of a purpose. I've got 2 ideas for name tag tricks that could be pretty cool. One of them is Pigman. You take a name tag, name it Pigman, and give it to a zombie Pigman, and you get that classic OG Pigman texture that was literally just deleted from the game without like any celebration at all. That could be pretty cool. And then, remember that muddy pig? Well, what if you named a pig Muddy, and then it became muddy? Like, no mud involved. If you could add one name tag trick to the game, and it could do anything you wanted to, what would it do? Let me know down below. I've been out here wandering the world for weeks with no food, no water, no clothing even. It's terrible. What's that? A mirage? Could this be real? Is this actual? It is indeed real. It is the only unfinished villager workstation in the game that's been unfinished for like literally years. For years now. Updates, 4 or 5 updates. The fletching table. It's time. I'm not too sure why they're holding the functionality of the fletching table back, but functionality of the fletching table 1.20, definitely time. I've got the perfect idea. Tipping arrows. Did you know that you could tip arrows in Minecraft? I mean, let's be honest, you probably didn't know about it, but in case you didn't, yeah, you can actually put potion effects on arrows. It's really, really cool. The fletching table, clearly having arrows, targets all over it, it's meant for arrows. Maybe you bring an arrow and some kind of ingredient. Maybe it's a flower, maybe it's like some mob drop or something, magma cream, over to the fletching table. Combine them and fuse them together inside of the fletching table, and somehow you end up with tipped arrows. Another route that I'd love to see them go is some kind of unique crafting table, meaning like the things you make in the fletching table. Well, you could only make them inside of the fletching table. For example, a quill. Maybe you could make a quill inside of this new revamped fletching table, and you could only make it inside of the fletching table. It'll give the block a little bit more use. But a quill, there's nothing in the game like it, clearly. How would a quill work? Well, I would propose that it would work kind of like a bundle. Another feature that would be amazing to see in 1.20. Alright, so for this one, we've got a little bit of a 2-in-1. The bundle. Of course, the bundle. The bundle is the next feature that I would love to see added into 1.20. Just like the first one we talked about, the Illusioner, it's kind of already in the game, sitting, waiting, ready to go. The bundle is used for inventory cleanup. My proposed quill item could be kind of similar to the bundle, where you go into your inventory, you take this new quill, and then you pick up arrows with it. The bundle can only hold 1 stack of items, though. That would be a problem. Maybe with this new quill, you could hold up to like 4 stacks of items, but those items can only be arrows or tipped arrows and things like arrows. This quill could also come with a brand new enchantment that I'm calling Unusing. You enchant your quill with this Unusing enchantment, and then you have a percentage chance to not consume arrows when you shoot them. A cool quill enchantment like that would incentivize actually using tipped arrows for once, and I mean, it's a new enchantment. Who doesn't like new enchantments? Okay, so for this next one, there's a little bit of setup, which means we have a little bit of time to talk. How are you? I hope you're doing well. We kind of just jumped right into things today. Because we jumped right into things today, I didn't get to tell you like my middle name or even remind you to like and subscribe. So remember to do that if you enjoy the video. Here we are, inside of the Nether. But we're inside of the Nether on Java Edition. That's the thing. This mechanic that we're going to talk about is clearly a bug. Like, it's not meant to work like this at all, but can you imagine what would happen? Like, what the community would say if the developers decided to actually remove it? So, on Java Edition, there's sort of this whole new zone, definitely not new, but whole zone that you can access that you can't access on Bedrock Edition. Funnily enough, it has to do with Bedrock. If you're a Bedrock player, you're most likely trembling right now because what I'm about to do is literally impossible. It's not real, but flock and light up on top of the Nether ceiling. If the devs are going to continue to allow players to build up on top of the Bedrock and the Nether, then they might as well bring that functionality over to Bedrock Edition as well. It's been long enough. The Wild Update revamped the locate command in big ways that I actually really like too. But also, some of these updates kind of expose problems in the game. So, when you type locate structure village, you have 5 options: desert, plain, savanna, snowy, taiga. Those are the only villages, right? If you thought that, I wouldn't blame you, but you're actually wrong if you think that. There's another type of village in the game, the meadow biome village, except it's really just the plains village, and there's not even a command to locate this thing. Okay, yeah, that's weird. If you could sum up the development of the Caves and Cliffs update in one word, that word would probably be chaotic. The development of 1.18 and 1.17 was kind of all over the place. In the 1.18 update, villages were added to the meadow biome. However, the villagers and the villages themselves, they're just reused versions of the plains village. And that's not right. And alongside a quick, simple village cleanup, meaning like the addition of one new type of village, the meadow village, like just fix up the structures, could be some new secret villagers as well. So when I was setting up for this video, I asked some of the best people, the smartest, like coolest people on the entire planet, my Instagram followers, for some ideas. I can't take any credit for this one, it's from you guys, and honestly this might be my favorite idea in the entire video. So 1.20 rolls along, you go over to a village in 1.20, drop a bee nest down on the ground, and you get a brand new type of villager, the beekeeper villager. New villager types, new professions added into the game, maybe alongside the future updates. Oh, it's such a cool idea. Now, to expand this idea into something of my own, I would say that maybe these new types of villagers are not natural. Like, you need to find this item and craft it, then bring it over to a village so you experiment a little bit. Maybe it does something, maybe it doesn't. Maybe, for example, we craft a respawn anchor and bring it over to the village and we get nothing but a lodestone. Very expensive. It has a literal netherite in the crafting ingredient. Well, yeah, you make one of these, bring it to a village, and then all of a sudden, nether locator villager who could sell you like a map to a bastion, a map to another fortress. Thank you for this idea. It's so cool. And if this isn't a mod, somebody please take this idea and make it a mod and then send it to me. I would love to see it. Speaking of see, oh boy, you're going to want to see this next one because this next one will help you see, okay, cut that transition, throw it in the trash. It's not good. No transition. The lush caves are so lush and alive, right? Yeah, right. And one mob that would have fit perfectly into lush caves, the glare, the sweet glare. Didn't even stand a chance in last year's mob vote. The poor glare. I mean, look at this thing. Look at how good this thing would have fit inside of this biome. It was literally meant to be here all along. Imagine this reality. This 1.20, you open up your game, head to the lush caves, and you find one of these things, apparently dancing inside of the azalea bush. Oh, it's so happy to see you. If you like the looks of this glare, I've got good news for you. It's a practically ancient video, so it's gonna be a little bit different. I made a data pack showcase a couple months ago on this version of the glare right here. It does some interesting, unique things. Check it out after this one. With how the devs went about it, you've got to think that the devs were at least a little bit surprised maybe at how much the community actually cared about a potential Birch Forest update. A Birch Forest update would be loved by the community. Or at least at this point, it would make us, the community, feel like a little bit heard by the developers. 1.20 drops and like 3 small updates come to the Birch Forest. Well, that'd be a great and simple way that the devs could show the community that they listen, they care about what the community wants. With the mild reception of 1.19 and then the following 1.19.1 controversy, it'd be an easy W for the devs. This next one is a quick and easy one that I can sum up with one word. Enchantments. Enchantments are so cool. They add new functionalities to items that are in the game. Now, there are many different enchantments that the devs could maybe add into the game in 1.20. Of course, if they added a quill, maybe some unique enchantments for that. The axe. Did you know that the devs already have a unique axe enchantment that might be coming to the game in the future? It's called chopping, and it might be added in the combat update, whenever that drops. Maybe they could add that ahead of time. And then the spyglass. This thing has so much missed opportunity. Even a simple enchantment that grants the spectral effect to mobs that you look at with this thing would make this thing slightly more useful. Right now, the spyglass, it's like, I mean, what's the point of the spyglass, honestly? Like, seriously. Talking about small updates that would be huge in 1.20, this next one is maybe one of the biggest ones of all. So this one comes from one of you guys over on Instagram again, thank you. Being a Java man, I always forget how much I actually use this thing and how big of a deal it actually is, but this screen right here, the F3 screen with tons of information, like your coordinates, the direction you're facing, the biome you're in, local difficulty, and so much more. Without this thing, I mean, look, if hardcore mode gets over to Bedrock Edition, how in the world are YouTubers going to make hardcore Minecraft 100-day world on Bedrock Edition? You literally have no clue what day you're on. In hindsight, now that we're more than a year away from the initial implementation of this stuff, copper is really cool. One of my favorite small updates of all time is this one right here. Copper block in the stone cutter, turn it to cut copper, and all of a sudden, 4 blocks. So speaking of building, doors, trapdoors, walls, fences, pressure plates, buttons, yeah, tons of useful things for building. The block that is meant for building, well look, let me put it this way, one of the best blocks of all time, a deep slate, it's wonderful and I love it, and not to undercut it or anything, but they didn't add this into the game saying this thing, oh boy, this thing is meant for building. Copper, that's what they did with copper. Now if you take a look at it, it looks like we have tons and tons of copper things, but really, we don't. If cut copper and copper in general is meant for building, if that is the case, then I'm going to go ahead and need to request staircases and slabs for this version of copper. Super clean, love it. And I'm going to need to request all of the actual other things for copper too. I mean, look at iron. It's not meant for building and it literally has a door and a trap door. Maybe even some copper walls as well. That would be really, really cool. Chiseled blocks. Look at all of the chiseled blocks in the game. They're pretty cool. Maybe chiseled copper as well. Tiles, deep slate tiles, such a cool looking block. Imagine copper tiles like this. It's like cut copper, but smaller. Honestly, I like that copper is meant for building and it doesn't have very many other uses, but if it's gonna be meant for building, we should have a couple more options. Like a button, a pressure plate, at least, please. To wrap up today's video, let's talk about the goat, then this wonderful horn, or horns. The goat horn, added to the game in Minecraft 1.19. So, the goat horn, it's meant to be this whole instrument thing. If that's what the devs wanted to do, and only what the devs wanted to do, fine, I get it. Maybe in a server with your boys, ladies, people, you use the goat horn and, you know, you could call other people. Kind of fun. But what about in single player? If I'm in single player, I want to hear the goat horn, then I'm going to have to use the goat horn. Imagine being able to put a goat horn inside of the dispenser, or maybe even like a new block that they could implement to get ready for other wind instruments in the game. You press a button or power it, and then all of a sudden, you get to hear the noise. A block that could actually use the goat horn would be simple, then it keeps perfectly in line with the dev's vision for this thing, an instrument. If we want to talk about what else the goat horn could do, then, well, there's so much opportunity. Stun the warden, and maybe signal other players, granting the spectral effect. Yeah, there's tons of options. Check out the Everything series episode on the goat horn for more on this most unique item. And if you haven't yet, check out this video for more on Minecraft 1.20, because that's it for this one. If you could add one small thing to 1.20, no matter what the theme of the update actually ends up being, what would you add? Let me know down below. Subscribe to become truly enlightened. Yeah. Subscribe to become truly enlightened in the world of Minecraft, a genius. You will reach your peak form. I promise. The big shout out patron gang, the great Vegeta, Michael H, Rob, and Darklind Studios. Thank you so much for the support. Thank you to those of you who dropped cool update ideas on my Instagram story the other day, and thank you all for watching. It's been me, your boy, Waddles. I'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye, everyone.